In this video, I'm going to cover everything about ChatGPT. This video will cover from the beginning, the basics, what it is, up to advanced level like custom ChatGPT. Recognize what it is good at and what it can't be trusted to do, and things to watch out. I'll explain what prompt engineering means, a 5-part formula for consistently great prompts, such as chain of thought prompting, built-in biases. I'm going to cover custom instructions, privacy rules, and advanced prompting like few shots and meta prompting. Okay, let's start with some basics. So basically, ChatGPT is a computer program that's trained on a vast amount of human writing. That's books, articles, websites, and conversations. And it learned to respond to your questions and instructions in natural human-like language. Think of it like a person who has read millions of books and can now have a conversation with you about almost any topic. It doesn't look things up on the internet in real time. It learned from the internet, that knowledge kind of is baked in. ChatGPT has a free version and a paid version. So what free version gives you? It's overall is excellent for most everyday tasks, for writing, editing, planning, and Q&A. Paid version, it's faster, more powerful model, can upload files and images, and web browsing for current info. A free version is good, kind of perfect place to start, but you may need to upgrade it if you want to kind of use its more advanced features. So the first thing to remember with the ChatGPT, when like you give instruction or you ask something, that's called prompting. The most important thing that I can tell you is that you will avoid probably 80% of the frustrations if you remember this rule. ChatGPT is only as good as instructions you give it. So if you give a vague instruction, you can get a vague answers. If you give very specific instructions, you will get a very powerful answers. Think of it like briefing a new team member. The more context you give, the better the output. ChatGPT sometimes makes things up and presents them with a very much total confidence, and it's called hallucination. And it's just fundamental feature of how this technology works. So how it works, the AI predicts the most plausible sounding next word, not the most factually correct one. So it cannot always tell the difference, even when it sounds 100% certain. I experienced it myself in my own work for executive search when I need to find the list of the potential candidates, people who fit the profile. And while I was doing it, many times when ChatGPT or other AI just produced some names and profiles that doesn't exist. You need to be really careful when you're using AI to ensure, especially when it comes to kind of sources, citations, and factual information, you need to double check. ChatGPT is really good for drafting, brainstorming, structuring, and explaining, and it also requires verification when it comes to facts, dates, names, statistics, and citations. I want to give you some real, I think, prompts that probably you're going to use with ChatGPT. So the first thing I think most people use ChatGPT is for emails, for email drafting and editing. So the prompt, please rewrite the following email to make it more professional and concise while keeping the core message. Keep it under 150 words and paste your rough draft here. A second use case for ChatGPT is meeting preparation. That's another prompt that you can use. Create a structured 45-minute meeting agenda for a quarterly team review. We need to cover last quarter's results, Q3 targets, team concerns, and next steps. Include time allocations and column for who leads each time. A meeting agenda that used to take 20 to 30 minutes to structure takes about 2 minutes. Another use case, number 3, simplifying complex information. This is a prompt that you can use. Explain the following paragraph in plain English as if you're explaining it to a smart colleague who isn't a specialist in this field, and avoid jargon. Then paste that complex text here. So how it's going to help you? Helps understand insurance policy clauses, medical information, legal terms, tax documents. I can tell you how much time it saved me, especially kind of simplifying very complex information when it comes to insurance and kind of policies and all other things. The other thing, use case you can use ChatGPT is planning and brainstorming. This is a prompt that you can use. I'm organizing a team building half-day event for 15 people, mostly aged 35-55 in a city, particular city. Budget is around 800. We want something engaging, not too physically demanding, that encourages conversation. Give me 6 creative ideas with a brief description of each. Again, it's going to save a lot of your time. And also ChatGPT is really good that you can use learning something new very quickly. It's a prompt that you can give. I'm 55 years old. I have no accounting background. I need to understand what cash flow means and why it matters for a small business. Explain it clearly with a simple analogy and give me 3 questions I should be asking my accountant about it. It was just very simple examples of prompt and the real use case how you can use ChatGPT that can help you in your everyday day or work. And what we've just done, that's called prompt engineering. I'm going to give you now the kind of framework that you can use consistently, whatever thing that you want ChatGPT to help you with. Prompt engineering is not a technical skill. It's a communication skill. I'm going to give you 5-ingredient formula, a framework to be able to write prompt that delivers consistently good output. It's called craft. Let me walk through that. Okay, the first one of the craft, C, it's a context. Who are you? What is the situation? And give ChatGPT the background it needs. The next one is R, role. Who should ChatGPT be? Tell it to respond as an expert in a relevant field. And the next action, what specifically do you want it to do? Be precise. Then format. How should the output look? Bullet points, numbered list, table, paragraph, and tone. What is the right style? Professional, casual, empathetic, direct, or persuasive? So one of the most powerful and most underused techniques is telling ChatGPT who to be. Let's just look at two examples. With that role, you give a prompt. What should I consider before starting a small business? Or what sort of result you're going to get is most likely just generic advice you could find on any blog, useful but not tailored to you. Now let's change it to the role. Then you will get an expert response. Let's change it. You are a small business consultant with 20 years of experience advising professionals in Australia who are transitioning from corporate employment to running their own consultancy. I'm 52, have expertise in HR or IT, and I'm considering launching a consulting practice. What are the 5 most important things I should get right in the first 90 days? And why this works? Because it's specific, it's actionable, you can get contextual relevant advice that considers your age, your local context, your industry, and your timeline. A lesser known tip, which is called the devil's advocate role. Most people use ChatGPT to build ideas up, and few actually use it to stress test them. Try this. After getting a response you like, follow up with this. Now play devil's advocate. What are the 5 biggest weaknesses or risks with this plan? And will this give you both sides of any argument or plan in seconds? And I strongly recommend you to use it. And ChatGPT always has a bias. You need to always use it just to stress test and see what's the alternative thoughts, alternative idea, or alternative opinion about particular topic or point of view. Now let's talk about another tip, which is called chain of thought, making ChatGPT think harder. When you add the phrase, think step by step, or walk me through your reasoning to your prompt, ChatGPT produces accurate and logical responses. And this is called chain of thought prompting. So when you need to use chain of thought, decision making where multiple factors are involved, when you're planning a project or process with many moving parts, when you evaluate a contract, proposal, or business case, if you want to understand complex tax, financial, or legal scenarios, troubleshooting a problem step by step. Now let's talk about the bias problem. ChatGPT has a tendency to tell you what you want to hear. It's important to understand. If you present a flawed idea or a factually incorrect statement to ChatGPT, it will often agree with you or validate your position, even when you're wrong. So how you reduce that bias? First, ask directly, be honest, what are the flaws in this idea? Assign the devil's advocate role, critique this as harshly as possible, ask it to disagree, tell me why I might be wrong about this, and rephrase with a different assumption and see if it changes its answer. I want to also talk about this, the honest expert prompt. You remember this prompt. I want you to be completely honest with me, even if that means telling me something I don't want to hear. Don't soften your feedback. Don't be polite at the expense of accuracy. Now, and put your question or idea. This reduces the biased responses and gets you genuine useful critique. Now, I want to talk about the follow-up technique. Most beginners do this. They get a response, it's not quite right, and they start a whole new chat. The ChatGPT is designed for conversation. The real power is in the follow-up. So what are the power follow-up phrases to bookmark? Make it shorter. Make it more detailed. Change the tone to X. Give me 3 alternative versions. What did you leave out there might be important. Simplify the language. I need this to be understood by a non-specialist. Now make it more persuasive. What questions should I be asking that I haven't asked yet? So let's talk about customs instructions. So, train it to know you, basically. Every time you start a new chat without custom instructions, you are basically starting from scratch. ChatGPT doesn't know who you are, what you do, or how you prefer to communicate. And custom instructions fix that permanently. So how to access custom instructions? Click your profile at the bottom left, select Customize ChatGPT, and you will see 2 boxes. And fill them once, and they apply to every future chat. This is an example. You need to personalize this for yourself. I give you an example. You can just need to use the same structure, but it's about yourself. So this is an example. I'm a 54-year-old operations manager in the healthcare sector based in Adelaide, Australia. I manage a team of 12 and report to the executive team. I have 20 years of industry experience. I'm comfortable with technology, but prefer plain language over jargon. My core challenges are time management, staff communication, and report writing. Now, box 2, how should ChatGPT respond? Again, personalize it to yourself. It's just an example. Always be direct and concise. I don't need lengthy preambles. Use Australian English spelling. Format responses when bullet points and headers where appropriate. When I ask for drafts, give me the draft first, then brief notes on what you did. If I ask you a question where you're uncertain, tell me clearly what you don't know. Never pad responses with generic encouragement. Just give me what I asked for. So basically, this is one time investment that you can spend 10 minutes to set it up, and that is going to save a lot of time with your new chats. Now, let's talk about ChatGPT memory. So how memory works. ChatGPT automatically saves relevant preferences and facts from your conversation. Future chats use these memories to give you more personalized responses. You can explicitly tell it to remember something in your chat while you're using it. Remember, say, for example, you can say, remember that I prefer meeting notes in bullet format with action items at the end. You can check what it remembers by asking, what do you remember about me? You can delete specific memories in settings, go into personalization, and manage memories. So, for example, this is a prompt that you can do. Remember the following about how I work. I always want email drafts under 200 words. I prefer bullet points over long paragraphs in any document. You give it prompt and it will remember. And why this works? Now these preferences apply permanently. You never type them again. Every email draft will be under 200 words and every document will use bullets. The AI now knows your team. Very important to remember what not to store in memory or anywhere in ChatGPT. Never share with ChatGPT passwords or login credentials, client or customer personal data, confidential business strategy or financial information, medical records, anything you would hesitate to email to a stranger. Now, let's talk about file uploads. As you can see in ChatGPT, you can also attach different files. What to upload? So you can upload PDF reports and research papers. You can upload Word documents for editing, Excel, CSV, data files, PowerPoint presentation and images, charts, photos, and diagrams. And after you do what you can ask. So you can basically ask, summarize this in 3-5 bullet points. What are the 3 key risks in this? Find all the action items. What data stands out? Draft a response to this document. And you still review the output critically, make the judgment calls. What are the practical uses when you upload the images? What you can do, you can take a photo from a whiteboard from a meeting, and then you can ask transcribe this and format as meeting minutes. You can take a screenshot in a complex chart and then prompt explain what this chart shows in plain English. You can take a photo of a product and describe this product for an e-commerce listing. You can take an image of a business card, extract all contact details from this. You can take a screenshot of a contract clause and ask, explain what this means in plain language. All right, now let's move building your first custom ChatGPT. This feature that truly sets, I think, power users apart. Custom ChatGPT, which is available in paid subscription, let you create your own specialized AI assistant, trained with your instructions, your documents, and your preferences. Think of it as building a dedicated tool for one specific job. Instead of briefing ChatGPT from scratch every time, you open your custom ChatGPT and it's already configured exactly the way you need it. So how to build a custom ChatGPT? So go to open ChatGPT and click on Explore GPT in the left sidebar. Click Create in the top right corner and you will see a GPT builder, a conversational interface. Tell it what you want to build in plain English, refine it, test it, save it, and done. So these are some ideas that you can create custom GPT for professionals. Performance Review Writer, which is, you can do input achievements, output structured review language, policy explainer, upload your company policies, ask questions in plain English, email tone checker, paste any email, get feedback on professional tone before you send it. You can build a custom GPT on proposal builder, your templates and style guide built in permanently. I'm going to share with you 3 advanced techniques. So technique number 1, few shot prompting, teaching by example. Instead of describing what you want, show ChatGPT an example of the output you're after, and it really improves consistency. For example, consistent tone training. So you can train a specific tone that you always want to write a ChatGPT. Just give an example and it will learn it. Technique number 2, constraint-based prompting. So this is an example. Write a LinkedIn post about our company's new flexible work policy. Constraints, maximum 150 words, must include one specific statistic about flexible work benefits, must end with a question to drive engagement. Warm, human, not corporate speak, must not use the words excited or thrilled. Technique number 3, meta prompting. Ask ChatGPT to write your prompt. I want to use ChatGPT to help me prepare for a difficult conversation with a team member who has been underperforming. I'm not sure how to frame the prompt to get the most useful help. Can you write me the ideal prompt to use for this situation? The single biggest productivity hack I can give you is this: build a personal prompt library, a simple document, Word, Notion, Notes, app, anything where you save your best prompts. Now, very important topic, probably the best for the last. Let's talk about privacy, ethics, and working smarter. Before we finalize our video, there are a few things I want to talk about that matter beyond just the mechanics. Privacy rules. On the free and consumer plans, your chats may be used to improve OpenAI's models. You can opt out in settings, data controls, never input client names, data, company financials, passwords, health information, or anything that's confidential. Then use temporary chat mode for sensitive tasks. It leaves no trace. Now, one of the most important part, what's called the human in the loop principle. Once you start using a lot of AI, especially large language models, you will realize how much important it is to remember about that. ChatGPT is only a tool, but it's not a replacement for your judgment, your expertise, and your accountability. ChatGPT makes you faster, it increases your productivity, but your expertise makes the output worth using. Now go use it. Start with one prompt today, build your prompt library this week, set up your custom instructions the weekend, and within a month, you will wonder how you ever managed without it.